Is the Bermuda Triangle a type of wormhole? Do werewolves also do that weird dog thing where they smell each other's asses?
Oh, God.
Answers to these questions and more on this episode of This Paranormal Life! Welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the weekly comedy podcast where every Tuesday, me, Kit Greer Mulvena, and this guy sitting across from me, Mr. Rory Power, get into a different paranormal case, deciding by the end of the episode whether we think the case is paranormal or not. How the hell are you doing today, Rory?
Some questions shouldn't be answered, and we just heard one of them at the start of the podcast.
But anatomically...
No, not anatomically. Because they're wolves, they're not dogs.
I'd say wolves do it too.
You think they smell each other's butts?
Yep.
I don't know. I think they're a bit more distinguished than that.
People love dogs so much, they really let the butt thing slide, don't they? Like, it's not...
I don't.
It's not hygienic. It's not
shoving your face in there, yeah.
But we just kind of go, we'll let that slide.
And when did
because you're cute.
At what point in the evolutionary path did we stop doing that? Were we sniffing butts? A couple million years ago?
Some of us never stopped, brother.
Because, you don't see, monkeys doing it.
Yep.
Well, maybe they do.
They throw
shit.
Yeah.
So. Crazy.
So are we the weird ones for not liking butts?
Absolutely not.
I guess we do like butts in some way.
Absolutely.
Welcome to This Paranormal Life. This is the Not Like That.
I'm here for that.
This is the weekly comedy podcast. I've already said that. Welcome to This Paranormal Life. We are back on a Tuesday, Rory, with a brand new paranormal tale ready for the listeners. What is going on in the world? Oh my God, it's December. We're kind of slap bang in the middle of it almost.
So gross. It is freezing
cold. What do you mean
cold.
Gross? It's beautiful.
No, it's not beautiful yet. Beautiful is in the kind of 2 weeks where the Christmas spirit starts to kick in.
Right.
It's a little too fresh for me just yet.
Yeah.
I need a little more time.
It was 0 degrees walking to the office today.
Yeah. A little cold, a little bit too much. I don't want to rant too much at the beginning of the podcast because on This Paranormal Life, we like to get straight into the episode. But I would be missing a trick if I didn't bring up the fact that you were in my dreams this week.
Whoa!
Yeah, I had a little dream about you.
I wasn't sniffing butts, was I?
You weren't. It was quite funny because the night was broken up into 2 dreams. The first one was about me, and I was in a casino playing a gambling game and hit it so big.
Were you James Bond?
I hit it so big that coins started raining out of the machine, and I literally woke myself up from the dream because I was so frantically trying to grab the coins.
Okay, so I went to imagining a blackjack table because it was a dream, but you're saying it was a one-armed bandit.
Yeah. I'm getting scammed even in my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And then I went back to sleep again. I was no longer in the casino, but I was in a car with you, and you made an improper turn, and we got pulled over by the police.
How bad was the turn? U-turn on a motorway?
I don't know what it was. Or you didn't look or something. It was very mundane. It was not very exciting for a dream.
And stay with me here, guys. I know this sounds boring talking about dreams, but didn't you also notoriously have a dream where I intentionally crashed a car off a road?
Yes.
Yeah, because I drive that road quite often. I think about that quite a lot.
I think about it too, because you were the first one to get a driving license. And I had this dream when I was 17 or something about this horrible car crash, so vivid. I remember which one of our friends was in the car and how they died and what their last word was to me as they dangled upside down with shredded faces. And then I think 1 week later, you were driving us to McDonald's or something, a whole group of us in the car. We started approaching the same road from the dream.
Oh,
and I am sweating. I am like, it's here. It's now. It happens. And so I don't think I told you about the dream at that point, but I think it was very clear something was wrong with me in that journey. I was sweating buckets.
I don't know whether that was deja vu or deja reve, but interesting. Well, I've been driving that road for many years since, although not that many times with you.
Yeah.
And haven't crashed yet.
Okay, well,
Touch
that's
wood.
great.
So,
well, my dream says now that you are going to get pulled over by the police for something.
Why am I'm being profiled in your dreams, which is unfair. I've never crashed the car once.
Have you ever been pulled over by the police?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
In all your years of driving, never once?
That's not true. Yeah, I did. These, all right, we're getting derailed. These pigs, these Piggies. I'm only joking. But they did get my ass one time, which was coming off a roundabout, and they pulled me over.
Damn.
And they were like, you didn't indicate off that roundabout, mate. And I was like, I did. And they were like, we're the police. Shut the up.
Yeah,
and but they let me off with don't do it again.
Right. That was kind of them, at least.
Piggies. And have you ever been pulled over?
Just once when back in Northern Ireland, it's one of the places where once you pass your driving test, you have to have your R plates for a year.
And that's not yar plates like a pirate.
No, it isn't. It just means that it's like your first year of driving. Watch out. I suck at this, even though I passed the test.
Can't go above 45 miles per hour.
You're supposed to have an R plate in the front and an R plate in the back. At some point, my sticky R plate on the back had fallen off.
Oh, it fell off, did it?
Fall off. And those
Get in the slammer.
And those pigs told me that I was down the whole time. So yeah, I got pulled over and I was so embarrassingly feeble. Like, sorry, officer, sorry. Bowing, it won't happen again.
Whereas if it was the Rory of today, little badass, you'd be like, I don't respect you. You burn the tires trying to get away. Not going anywhere.
So luckily never been pulled over since then.
Yeah, well,
in dreams or otherwise.
Sounds like we've got off light with two, I would say, as minor crimes as they get, really, in the scheme of things.
Which is remarkable because I drink drive a lot.
Right.
And they haven't got me once for that.
Rory, this is the kind of party hard lifestyle that I want you to take that energy and bring it into today's case. We have a blockbuster case ready for you today. I'd say we get right into it after a couple of words from today's sponsors. Remember, every episode of This Paranormal Life is available right now, ad-free, on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Links in the description. Swipe up, click the links on YouTube, wherever you are. Up there, Charlie. You see it? Just through the trees.
Oh, aye. I see it now. It doesn't look that bad.
Doesn't it look bad? Charlie, it's a place of pure evil.
Just looks like an old house to me.
Well, it's not just any old house. The black magic, the rituals, the murals. It's not right what's happening there. The stories, they chill you to your very bones.
Where are we?
We can't have a centre of such devilry in our community.
Where are we now?
Where do you think, bud?
I'm aware
this
that
guy wouldn't know an R plate if it fell off the back of his damn windscreen.
We just went straight into kind of dialogue talking about a cursed place, so I just want to...
We're all right, Charlie. We're in Scotland.
All right, got it.
Play the bagpipes. Not those bagpipes, those are from June. Read the line.
Right, let's get it over with.
It's 2019 at Boleskin House, a manor house on the hills of the shore of Loch Ness.
Boleskin House?
No.
Good Lord.
Let's get this out of the way. Boleskin House.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Scottish accent. Boleskin.
Boleskin.
Gross. Don't like this already.
While I've been researching this, I have been trying to repress what made me uncomfortable about Boleskin House. I thought it was too close to Foreskin House, but yeah, it is Boleskin House.
I don't like this at all.
Boleskin House.
Let's call it BS House, please.
Oh, I've been saying it wrong. Boleskine House. Boleskine House.
Okay, that makes it slightly better.
I need to fact check that. I don't know what to say.
Boleskin House.
Boleskin House?
What?
Sorry, Jesus. Okay, Boleskine House. I had that wrong.
Right, that's a much nicer name, yeah.
Not Boleskin House. Shit.
God.
Boleskin. Thank goodness. Wow.
Boleskin.
Should have figured that out before we said that on the podcast. It's 2019 at Boleskine House, a manor house on the hills of the shore of Loch Ness. But we're not here to talk about Nessie today, Rory. Right, light up these rags. Quick, chuck them in. In the name of God, burn! Boleskine House was set on fire. Boleskine House was set on fire in July of 2019 in a suspected case of arson. It wasn't the first time this house had been a victim of fire either. But why would someone attack a beautiful historic house like this? Well, as we'll discover, Boleskine House is associated with supernatural rituals and black magic. It was once owned by the infamous 19th century occultist Aleister Crowley, whose links with dark mysticism help explain the house's reputation.
Okay, so today we are dealing with a haunted shack lakeside that has been burned down by the locals.
Not a shack.
All
Big
right.
old manor house.
Okay, huge.
Yeah, and suspiciously close to the Loch Ness Monster itself. But forgetting Alistair for a second, it's a later, more unlikely owner that we're talking about today. You see, in 1970, when the crumbly manor house went back on the market, years after Crowley's death, an offer came in from an unexpected London address. The address of an office building, and the letterhead at the top read Led Zeppelin.
Whoa.
That's right, the Led Zeppelin. Their guitarist Jimmy Page wanted to buy the house. Page was obsessed with the occult and Aleister Crowley. He couldn't resist buying a piece of paranormal history. And it turns out that Led Zeppelin, one of the world's most famous, influential, and revered rock bands, flirted heavily with the paranormal over the years.
Damn, I didn't know this. I guess rock and roll goes pretty hand in hand with occultism and dark magic.
Even at the best of times, sure, it kind of, the black clothes and
the devil.
pretending to do the devil horns.
Exactly, yeah.
But what if it strayed into something a bit more exorcist vibes?
Okay, hey, I like this. You know, the wizard's dead, so the best thing I can do is buy his hut.
Stop calling it a hut. It's a giant manor.
I haven't seen it. You haven't told me anything about it.
I've told you it's a big old manor house several times. Stop calling it a hut, a shack. Do I have a
it's
picture of
burned
it?
down now, so.
I think I have I have a suitably grainy picture of it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's a nice house. Not quite as lakeside as I assumed. I can't even see a lake.
I said the hills on the lakeside.
Okay.
Roy, did you ever have a Led Zeppelin phase?
I don't even know if I could name a single Led Zeppelin song.
Oh, come on now.
I'm sure I've heard them, but yeah, they're really a blind spot for me musically. Oh, of course, yeah. I know that one. That's Led Zeppelin?
They are, I'll give it to you, they're one of those bands that you ask me if I listen to them, I'm like, no, I don't listen to them, obviously. They're not really my thing. But as soon as someone puts Whole Lotta Love on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is rock and roll. This is one of the greatest rock songs of all time. Also, Immigrant Song, which is Then we got Kashmir. Dun, 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 dun.
I've never heard that in my life.
You have heard it. It's in the Matrix. So many bangers, and I know bangers. So let's look at. You said you were having a classic rock phase this year.
Yeah.
How do you not touch Led Zeppelin?
Well, my classic rock phase has slowly descended into what is now widely being referred to on the internet as divorced dad rock.
That's bad. That's bad that you're more dad rock than I am. A literal dad.
Yeah. I'm bringing a lot of divorced dad rock to the party. So we're talking.
You've skipped dad and you're just divorced.
We're talking Creed. We're talking Nickelback. Just music that is stereotypically bad and frowned upon is having a renaissance.
Doesn't it feel like, it's coming around again?
It is.
Like, because I put on, as a friggin' bit yesterday, I put on Breaking Benjamin's Blow Me Away, famously from the Halo 2 soundtrack. And I was
it's
like,
having a moment.
I'm like, isn't this so funny? And then we're all kind of nodding our heads like, yeah, this is hilarious.
Yeah. My whole Instagram is just Creed memes now, pretty much nonstop. So I'm kind of digging it. So maybe Led Zeppelin is what I need to get into next.
There's such a fine line as well between like good dad rock and bad dad rock. Like, because Creed is quote unquote bad, but then like Pearl Jam is cool. How does that figure? It's like, the guys are both singing like this.
Yeah, I would almost say if it's cool, it's not divorced dad rock.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam isn't, because Pearl Jam's too good and cool.
Right.
So, but Creed, 100%. Nickelback, never made it as a wise man. That's divorce. That's got a divorce. Those lyrics were written on the back of divorce papers.
Did you ever see people were saying, I don't know if this is true, but it's in the YouTube comments. People are like, did you know that Chad Kroeger was like 24 or something when he wrote that?
What?
I don't know. Something like that.
Jesus, with that voice?
Yeah, twisted. But I agree. Led Zeppelin is like, they do have absolute classics, but they are, because they were kind of like the British invasion, that like early British classic rock. It feels very old now. Like, it feels pretty alien to like the kind of stuff we grew up with in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a little bit more hippy dippy, but still with many bangers thrown in. Rory, I thought we would use that opportunity to explore one of the most famous musical artists of all time and look at their paranormal history. See if any of it is real. Look, like I said, Jimmy Page bought Boleskine House. And when he did, let me tell you, it was the weirdest house listing on Zoopla. I don't know why the guy bought it. In fact, let me try to sell you on the house and see if you would have gone for it, Rory. Okay, turning the keys. Okay, we've got a beautiful house here, Rory, for you. Manor house, not a shack.
Okay.
In Scotland, lakeside property.
Very lovely.
Some unique wildlife, I'm told, in the lake. It needs a little work. It's in borderline ruins since its last owner left it a few years ago.
Okay, well, for sure, don't show it to people then.
Fix
it up first.
Look around the crucifixes on the floor. The previous owner was a guy called A. Crowley.
All right, what's that first name?
Redacted, don't know. He was also known as the Great Beast 666. His job title was head of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So he found that this house was really great for magic sex rituals.
I'm back in, baby.
The actual land that the house here was built on was the site of a Jacobite massacre in 1745.
Cool.
So there's just hundreds and
Rich
hundreds
history.
of dead bodies underneath the house.
That's
yes.
nice.
So many people actually that the house comes with a graveyard.
Can it not? Can it not come with the graveyard?
The graveyard is quite established. It is an established area.
We knock off a bit off the top.
You need to go somewhere when you die. You don't need to go far. That's a good thing about this house. You can just go to the garden because the garden is a graveyard. There's actually secret tunnels running from underneath the house into the graveyard.
That raises a lot of questions. Into the graveyard?
Yeah.
Why would anyone need to get to the graveyard quickly?
You're going to want to lock the trapdoor to the tunnels at night.
Okay.
Just in case kind of the skeletons come up the tunnel, you know. The house is located in a very historic area, of course, this Loch Ness region of Scotland. The area is historically home to an evil wizard known to have reanimated the corpses in this very graveyard.
But he died, right? The wizard? Wasn't he the guy who owned the house?
No, different. So
there's another wizard in the mix?
Because Aleister Crowley, he's just a magic man. He was a writer, a cult leader by all accounts. No, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There was an evil wizard. That's a local legend.
Oh, right.
The evil wizard kind of reanimated the skeletons in the graveyard. This is all true. I'm not making this up. As you'll see, the previous owner left the place in a little bit of a tip. He had to leave pretty hastily. This is 100% true. He was in the middle, allegedly, of an extended magic ritual, and he had just summoned, quote, 12 kings and dukes of hell. But before he got to banish them again, he had to go to some meetings in Paris. So it's said that they still roam the house to this day.
Once you've summoned the second Duke of Hell, stop the spells. Yeah. For sure stop the spells, because the phone, someone gave you the wrong number.
Right.
The calls are coming from under the house. You want them above the house.
You basically summoned the underworld's version of, those clown cars that just fit an infinite amount of clowns, just dukes and demons of hell keep coming out of it.
Yeah, the spell isn't working the way you want it to if you keep getting demons.
Apparently, when Crowley sold the house, he said, quote, things got a bit out of hand.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
And clearly they did, because even after Crowley left Boleskine House, there were a number of deaths linked to the house after he left. So, including one when Major Edward Grant committed suicide with a shotgun in Crowley's bedroom in 1960.
Yikes. That's very recent.
So obviously, Jimmy Page bought the house in 1970, and he set about restoring it to its full paranormal glory. He hired artists to create ritualistic magic murals on the walls. He wanted to finish what Crowley had started and keep practicing magic at Boleskine. And the strange vibe of Boleskine House wasn't confined to history. Even Jimmy Page's friends that visited his new house experienced bizarre paranormal phenomena. Guests described demons snorting and snarling outside their bedroom doors.
What?
One said they had been attacked by a demon in the middle of the night, not to mention poltergeist activity such as chairs and furniture moving around the house on their own.
Why did he want to keep this happening? Because everything that it sounds like he's brought back into the house are like the accidental side effects of magic gone wrong.
Right.
But it seems like he's doing everything he can to make it go wrong again.
Yeah.
Like bring back the demons, make spell-enhancing tapestries on the walls. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it all
What
comes...
is he getting out of this?
Well, he's a lover and practicer of the occult, for one, and then a super fan of Aleister Crowley second, I suppose.
Okay.
You know, but I would agree, like, it's one thing if you love Steve Jobs and then you want to buy Steve Jobs' old house because it's like there's a history and a heritage there. And clearly there was amazing artwork and things like that at Boleskine House. But yes, it seems that Jimmy Page's interest in the paranormal went deeper than just liking Aleister Crowley's books.
Yeah, a real dark direction.
But was it just Jimmy? Or was it Led Zeppelin as a whole? Because some believe that Led Zeppelin, the entire band, were actually cursed. It was even called the anger curse.
That's a second bad word slapped onto an already bad word.
Curses are angry enough.
Right?
As they are.
An anger curse.
You see, in the early 1970s, a filmmaker and occultist called Kenneth Anger met Jimmy Page at an auction. A-list name, top tier name.
He should be in the rock band.
Kenneth Anger.
Kenneth Anger? He should be in Led Zeppelin.
He met Jimmy Page at an auction. They were both bidding on a manuscript by Crowley and quickly became friends. Page agreed to write the soundtrack to Kenneth's next documentary, but they soon started to have disagreements. Kenneth also pissed off Page's wife, and she kicked him out of the house. He was furious, and then in an interview with the Guardian newspaper, he told them, "Look, I was at their house, and they had so many servants, and yet they would never offer me a cup of tea or a sandwich, which is such a mistake on their part, because now I've put the curse of King Midas on them. Look, if you're greedy and you just collect gold, you'll get an illness."
That's what the curse means?
Yeah,
There's so
apparently.
much to unpack here. Whose house had the servants?
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page's house had servants that didn't serve Kenneth Anger sandwiches, so we put a curse on him.
Give him a cup of tea.
Oh, all of these men can get in the bin. Spend your money on something better, for the love of Christ Almighty, or the Demon Lord, whoever you worship.
It's such...
My God.
It's such a funny phrase for a wizard to say which is such a mistake on their part, because then I just cursed them. I just put a curse on them.
Yeah, this feels like being in primary school. We're just making up rules. Well, I put a curse on him. Well, I have a anti-curse. I just place that reverses your curse and sends it back to you.
Yeah, do you think that's real, the curse of King Midas?
No. No. Nor do I the Easter Bunny, Kit. What are we talking about? What do you mean?
Well, you gotta remember.
You can't just say that to me.
You gotta remember all these... Yes, this is in London.
This is like saying, oh, he said they were really rude to him, so he unleashed the curse of the pee-pee poo-poo man. Roy, do you think the pee-pee poo-poo man's real? What are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about on this planet?
Right, but King Midas was a real thing.
Did he have a curse?
We need to find out. We need to find out. Let me find out.
No, I insist you don't.
It's coming back to me now that I'm reading it. So yes, famous Greek myth, King Midas, he wished that everything he would touch would turn to gold, which we think of as a good thing in today's age. We always say like, oh, everything that guy touches turns to gold. But it soon turns into a curse with grave consequences.
Mm-hmm. Tried to jerk off.
The tail is
Ended up with a golden dick.
What's wrong with that? The tail is, that's what they call mine. And the tail is a cautionary one, highlighting the perils of greed. It is a Greek myth, for sure.
Yeah.
But look, these guys, we have to remember, yes, these were eccentric rich people in London in the 70s, but they weren't playing when it came to the occult. Didn't I just say they were bidding on magic books at an auction? These guys were really studying this stuff. Look, I'm sure that a bit like you, a lot of people were laughing when they read that in The Guardian in the 70s. But Led Zeppelin wouldn't be laughing soon. In 1975, Robert Plant, the singer of Led Zeppelin, was in a terrible car crash in Greece with his wife. leaving them both seriously injured. He had to record vocals for their next album in a wheelchair.
Wow, didn't know that.
That album, Presence, was a commercial flop compared to previous records, and the band struggled with tour cancellations. Much more tragically, Robert Plant's son, Carrack, died in 1977 from a mysterious illness. And then, of course, in 1980, their much-worshipped drummer John Bonham died, and the band finally split.
I like the idea of the tour being a flop, the album being a flop, and the manager is just like stressing beyond all belief. But the band are like, hey, look, don't worry. We're going to get back to the house. We're going to work with a whole new set of spells. We just got this different book. He's like, write a f***ing song. Write a good song with musical instruments. Stop trying to cast wizard spells to make your songs better and just write some music. That's the way to do it.
It's interesting that a paranormal curse has become part of the band's history. I think we're expecting to get into a certain amount of, sure, magical rituals that kind of teed us up for that. But interesting that they, I guess, by being around other wizards,
right,
they ended up catching a stray. Like in the same way that like artists today, like in the hip hop world, might be tangled like Young Thug in like gang disputes. They're at risk of getting shot, catching a stray.
Sure.
For rock bands in the 70s, it was a stray wand.
Right.
It was a spell being cast.
A Hogwarts-style wizard duel.
You know, do you think there's anything potentially to that, getting a curse from Kenneth Anger?
I mean, if you hang out with wizards, the odds of you getting cursed do increase exponentially.
Right.
So that I guess that makes sense.
But if you hang out with 5 Lamborghini owners, you're going to be the next Lamborghini owner. You know, if you hang out with 5 wizards,
right,
you're going to get cursed.
But I don't know. I'm not. Nothing that's happened so far has been otherworldly or paranormal. It's just kind of a rock star band petering out over the years.
Not even the King Midas curse turned his
Did
cock to gold.
anything happen to that with that?
I just told you all the bad shit that happened. Nothing turned to gold. But a bunch of bad shit happened.
Some of the bad stuff was just the album didn't do as good as they wanted. And the tour didn't sell as good as they wanted.
It's like, didn't they still remain to be one of the most successful bands of all time?
Yeah, pretty much.
But look, even aside from the Anger curse, many believe that the band themselves became cursed because they had struck a deal. You see, Led Zeppelin idolized Robert Johnson. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you.
No.
It should. Because remember years ago, I think the first ever episode of This Paranormal Life that we filmed was the blues musician who sold his soul to the devil, Robert Johnson.
That's right. I forgot his name was Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
That's cool. That was a really good episode of the podcast, which was, a guy who wanted to be the best jazz musician in the world, sold his soul to the devil, and he kind of pulled it off. Granted, no one knows who he is now. But I think at the time he was pretty good at guitar or something.
So rude. He's like the most famous blues musician ever. TikTokers, Gen Z today probably don't know Robert Johnson, in fairness.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good run if people know who you are for like 70 years. But Led Zeppelin idolized him. He was the GOAT. And Led Zeppelin notoriously, almost to a fault, borrowed heavily from the blues musicians of the past. I think people have accused them of that. Of like, you know, the white people come along, play black music in a different context, and they become very famous for it. But I think it's fair to say Led Zeppelin obviously took it in so much of a different direction with rock that it became something different. But Robert Johnson didn't just set the template for blues music, but he also set the template for doing deals with the devil.
Right.
And he sold his soul to the devil at the famous Crossroads, which I think you can go visit, in exchange for blues guitar licks. Story went that he basically, like Kanye, went away, made 3 beats a day for 2 summers, and he basically came back after summer, and everyone was like, where did he learn to play guitar? He used to suck, and now he's unbelievable.
Which I guess if you want to make a deal with the devil, buy the house with all the demons in it. That's a good start. But by that point, they were already famous, so they would have already made the deal. Maybe part of the deal was buying the house.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. That's true. I think they'd already done the deal at that point. It's said that Led Zeppelin took the same deal, the deal that their idol also took, ensuring their meteoric rise to fame and godlike guitar and singing abilities, all at the cost of their souls.
Wow.
And so, fans of the band began looking for clues of occult worship and Satanism in their music and artwork, and they really weren't hard to find. They wrote lyrics about strange, archaic subjects, mythologies, and otherworldly imagery. The iconic album art for Led Zeppelin 4 features the tarot card of the Hermit, followed by 4 obscure magic symbols.
Yeah, this looks pretty occult, to be fair. Yeah, I don't know a lot about tarot cards, but we got an old guy in a cloak with a lantern, the text Led Zeppelin, and then, yeah, a bunch of weird-ass symbols that look like they're out of a Dark Souls game. I mean, do we know what any of them mean?
I don't know much about tarot, but I know an old guy in a cloak when I see one. Well, I'm glad you asked, Rory. There was one symbol for each band member, and they all picked them individually. While most of the band picked pretty benign symbols, you know your boy Jimmy Page didn't. His symbol, the first symbol on that artwork, is the most mysterious, the Zoso symbol. It took years until someone finally tracked it down. It first appeared in writing in a 15th century magic text called the Ars Magica Artificii.
Write a song! Write a song! It's not gonna make a difference if the symbol on the front is from an ancient alchemist book.
How do you think he came up with those riffs? Have you heard Whole Lotta Love? Ding down, ding down, ding 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 ding. You think you can do that without the devil? You're out of your mind.
It's not a complex riff.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. Bro.
All right.
It was believed to be a symbol associated with black magic and witchcraft. And so they started using it everywhere, embroidered onto their stage clothing set. It is a dope symbol. I will give him that.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
This is his one? I mean, it's borderline not a symbol. It's words. Zoso. This is Zoso written down. Z-O-S-O.
Interestingly, I should say that Zoso is, I guess, the...
You're like, whoa, don't say the words out loud. There's
You
19...
said it twice, brother. You say it one more time and he comes here.
Zoso himself arrives on the podcast.
Zoso is what people have called it based on how it looks. It's actually not a Z or an O or an S or an O. It is a symbol, but it happens to look like Zoso.
Okay.
Like the longer you look at that Z, it's not a Z.
Yeah, it looks like a 7 with a tail.
Exactly. Okay. And then that's kind of like, almost the longer you look at that, you're like, is it even eyes and a nose? There's a lot going on, actually.
Oh, it does look like a bit of a... Yeah, shit, that looks like a smiley face.
Yeah.
Because there's the nose and there's this little smile.
As I say, they started using it everywhere on tour, on their clothes, on the set. People even claimed that the symbols were being used so heavily at their concerts, it was actually more of a black magic ceremony than a gig at a certain point, with millions of audience members taking part in a black mass without even realizing it.
That's kind of a cool idea. I'd say if most of the people don't realize it, it's still a music concert. if the majority of people are coming to hear the music and dance to the music and the music's being played, it's still probably a music concert. Now, if in the crowd, large portions of the audience were creating circles and drawing on the floor with chalk, then let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah, if you kind of turn to the next person to you in the mosh pit, and you're like, hey, bro, want a tab of acid? And it's just a monk. They're like, whoa.
Right. He's not here for the music.
He's not even listening. He's making his own music.
Yeah.
This reminds me of when we were growing up. There was a Christian nightclub.
Exodus.
An oxymoron, if ever
sick
you've heard
name
of
for a nightclub, by the way.
They did kind of knock it out of the park. It was an interesting idea. And it was a Christian nightclub for teens.
Yes. I actually never went.
And really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I know, I wish I had now.
But it reminds me of that because their whole thing was like, obviously getting you into Jesus.
For sure.
That's definitely the idea. But also providing a safe space for kids. But as teenagers, we wanted to troll them.
I'm staying out of this. I didn't. I think this is Kit.
We wanted to take advantage of the Christian nightclub existing, but totally ignore all the messaging about Jesus.
Right.
So they would try and get us in through the door by putting on like gigs, like rock nights.
Yeah.
Like with heavy bands and stuff. I think this happened a lot of places in America and stuff for young people. But it was under the strict rules that there was no alcohol, obviously. Anything you wanted to do at a gig as a teen, which was kiss girls, drink booze, and fight in the mosh pit, those were very much outlawed at the gig. So you had to stand there, enjoy the music quietly, and then maybe listen to a lecture about Jesus.
Like a school dance, it was like guys on one side of the hall, girls on the other side. Do not. I'm parting you like the Red Sea. It is staying that way. Do you guys know about that? You will by the end of the night.
You got to leave room for Jesus, guys. And but yeah, we really made a point of going in, moshing immediately, trying to kind of get ourselves, and then we got thrown out every time. I don't think we ever made it to the sermon at the end of the night.
There was a sermon at the end of the night?
That last song of the night, we open up a Travis Scott style rage mosh pit.
Wow.
Get thrown out. So, it worked and it didn't work.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Jimmy started using this symbol, but to an extent, the other members of the band weren't even in on it. One time, Robert Plant, the singer, was talking about it, and he told a funny story where he said, quote, Jimmy pulled me aside one day and said, one day, someday in the future, I'll tell you what it means. And once I do, I'll never be able to say it again. And he just never told me. He just never brought it up again.
That's, man, if you were the other guys in the band, that must be so frustrating to have one member who's like, cause like we've been in bands before, and it's hard to be the person where you're like, hey, we should really rehearse. We really need to rehearse, and we really need to write songs, and I think we need to work on this, and I think we should work on this. And to have one guy who's just like, if you want, we can rehearse and we can try as hard as we want. It's not going to make a difference. You know what will? The spells and the magic. And you're like, oh my God. Especially at this point when you're like, we can't get rid of him.
He's lighting heroin with a spoon and a flame as well.
You couldn't get rid of him at this point. It's kind of like in the Beatles, right? Didn't some of the Beatles get really weird and annoying towards the end? And they're like, oh my God, but he's a Beatle. We can't kick him out of the Beatles. We have to.
I think you're talking about John Lennon. Yeah. He kind of went Jesus mode towards the end.
It's like it'd be really cool, John, if we just wrote more songs about submarines and stuff. People really like those.
Rory, I think, listen, I'm not a big Led Zepp head, but even I know that when you're Jimmy Page, you get to do whatever the you want.
Right, yeah.
When you wrote Whole Lotta Love, how many times do I have to say it, brother? When you write Kashmir. But look, that's a good place to leave it before we go to a couple messages, because I'm talking about all the great songs he wrote. Jimmy was about to snap. He was about to pop off. And the accusations of Satanism and paranormal rituals would reach a new fever pitch. We'll get into why that happened after a couple words from today's sponsors. Okay, we're back and talking about Led Zeppelin. Rory, it all kicked off with the track Stairway to Heaven.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Remind me, what's the riff?
The worst bit is, I think I do need to hum it, because I don't think for copyright reasons we can play it. It's like, starts off with a little acoustic. It's like, ding, 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 ding. There's a lady who knows all that glitters is gold, and she's turning a stairway.
This is when I reveal I knew the song the whole time. I just wanted Kit to sing it.
Ring any bells?
Does it kick off at any point?
I think there's a big Phil Collins style. Ooh.
No, I don't know this song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You do though. Stairway to Heaven, my God. Okay. It's an absolutely insane track. This is considered like a rock masterpiece.
I think I have heard
right
it.
Up there. You definitely are. You're trolling me. Right up there with
Why don't you sing it again?
Bohemian Rhapsody. Ooh, something, something, stairway to heaven.
So you don't even know the words?
It's
the most iconic track of all time. Something, something, name of the song.
It cemented their status as rock gods.
Did it?
On Earth.
I don't know it, and you don't know the words.
As a fun bit of trivia, if you're trying to understand how godlike they were at the time, if you ever see that movie Almost Famous from the year 2000, there's a scene where the rock star, it's kind of loosely based on a couple of bands, but there's a moment where the rock star is like, he's in a hotel or something, he's on top of a roof, and he's like, I'm a golden god. And he's like on drugs and shit. But that was based on Robert Plant, the singer of Led Zeppelin. He apparently I think he did that at like a hotel or something. He was like, I'm a golden god.
That's pretty cool. I'm into that.
But when Stairway to Heaven dropped, listeners hunted for paranormal clues. And it was a man, much later on, called Paul Crouch, who in 1982 first suggested that they had hidden secret messages in the music. Rory, surely you've heard of this kind of urban legend.
We haven't told me what it is
The
yet.
Stairway to Heaven messages.
No!
This is, I mean, you're completely in the minority here. This is like one of the most famous urban legends ever.
No, I haven't.
The story goes, Paul Crouch posited,
I'm excited.
that during the middle section of the song, satanic messages were hidden in the lyrics. There's a section, this is exciting actually, if Rory hasn't heard this, it's genuinely exciting.
Yeah.
There's a section of the song that goes, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. He claimed that if you played it in reverse, the section reads as follows. Here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is Satan. He'll give you 666. There was a little tool shed where he made us suffer, sad Satan. Rory, there's only one way we're going to figure out whether this is real or not. We got to listen to the track.
Yeah, we do.
Because you have to remember as well, this is all...
Sad little Satan. Even in English, it's such a weird sentence.
You have to remember as well, this was the days of vinyl.
Yeah.
Because listening in reverse is not something that's very easy to do today. But in the days of vinyl, I guess you could have done. You just literally,
Easier,
just go anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
Just spin it the other way. Okay, Rory, here's the song forwards with that section.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen.
Okay, that's the section we're honing in on.
Okay, very short. And this is what it is in reverse.
And then this is it, reversed.
Okay.
Rory, bud, what do you think?
It is very creepy. I don't know why stuff in reverse freaks me out so much.
Yeah.
Does it freak every human out that much?
I think so.
There's something really unnatural about it?
Because isn't it a famous moment in like Twin Peaks or something? It's like a David Lynch movie, right? And it's the famous, or like Blue Velvet, I don't know.
Right.
But it has the whole like weird everyone's talking backwards scene.
Ugh.
And it's really creepy.
I was thinking more of The Simpsons, Yvonne Etniage.
I mean, so we started laughing because in the video I'm showing Rory, it has subtitles for the backwards messaging.
Yeah.
It does reach a bit towards the end where it just goes question mark, question mark, question mark. They can't make out what he's saying.
Question mark, sad Satan.
But I will say, it does sound like the word Satan many
Yeah,
times.
it's clearer than I thought it was going to be, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think arguably the most impressive bit is the 666.
Yeah, what could that have been in forward?
I know. I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. But with another artist, you might say, okay, that's very random. But for an artist that we know, Jimmy Page, he worshipped a guy who was called the Great Beast 666.
But he didn't write the lyrics though, did he? Jimmy Page?
No.
He was the guitarist.
I don't actually know much about the inner workings of Led Zeppelin. I don't know how much they wrote it together or not.
That's a fair point. There could have been a collaborative point. Maybe the other guys did the verses in the chorus and he was like, how about I take a swing at that bridge? And they were like, absolutely not. Because you keep putting really weird shit in there. They were like, we've written a song called Stairway to Heaven. There's no way he's going to squeeze in any mentions of the Dark Lord or demons or 666. And then he writes this bizarro world reverse
He's
bridge.
like, no, it's nothing. He's like, I just had something in my mind I really want to get down. And it's, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. Look, Rory, whenever we started this paranormal life, I really wasn't expecting to talk about music at all. But if we've learned anything since 2017, it's that there's a powerful connection between musicians and the paranormal. You know, on our episode semi-recently, on the Curse of the Ninth, we explored a mysterious curse that killed some of the world's most famous composers, Mahler, Schubert, and Beethoven, right at the peak of their creative powers.
That was a great episode. I really liked that one.
Through to Robert Johnson, and in the modern era, we did a bonus episode on whether rock star Andrew WK is a clone. So it's actually really not out of left field to talk about Led Zeppelin. But I suppose what we need to pick apart is how much this is its own thing, like those stories, its own curse, its own paranormal phenomenon, and how much this dovetails with another case we did about the Satanic Panic. I should say that this was also during a period of kind of McCarthyism and public concern about Satanism infiltrating culture.
Yeah, I've never understood a lot of this fear or these conspiracies. I think it's just because the music industry is a crazy, wild, loud, rule-breaking industry. People just, it goes very hand in hand with this kind of backdrop of occult and devil worshipping and dark magic and stuff, to the point where, as you said, people are reversing songs to hear secret messages put inside them. I mean, let's take that one for a moment. What could have been the possible reason to hide that in a song?
Worshipping the Dark Lord.
But they're not, though, are they? If people don't even know it's there? Or is the idea it's so sublime, like, do we not even know it's there? And
I think we talked about that in the Satanic Panic episode. I think that was part of the worry. I mean, we covered the brilliant breakdown by the Christian woman of the monster logo and how they're subliminally getting... Well, what was it she said? Bottoms up and the devil laughs. Because I think the M, when it's upside down, is the Hebrew symbol for 666 or something.
Or there's
like
a cross.
Yeah.
In the
cross.
O, and then when you flip it, it's an upside down cross.
Yeah.
So the devil laughs.
That's right.
The mark is a mark of the beast.
The point is,
monster.
You can't just put "I love the devil" on a can.
Right.
Kids won't buy it. They probably would buy it, actually, but they wouldn't be allowed to sell it. So it's like, how do we get this messaging into the youth? We subliminally get it to them.
And you write a song called Stairway to Heaven. Wink.
Exactly.
Oh, your kids are going to love that, Mom and Dad. Let them listen to that. And they're like, there's a stairway, devil, to heaven, fire.
Sucks.
Just snuck in there.
Isn't it cool, as you say, how that has been long a function of music, is to push the boundaries? Did you know, here's a amazing piece of like trivia, or like, I don't know, a little weird cocktail party fact, is that, do you know where guitar distortion first originated?
Someone's amp got destroyed, right? Like kicked in or something?
Yeah, annoyingly, you know this. So
Sorry, no, actually, kid, I don't.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you. Yes, it's because Link Ray of Link Ray and the Raymen, who's like a 50s kind of surf band who did Rumble, a track so violent, which had no lyrics, by the way. It was just literally like 2 chords.
Very cool.
Being played. It was considered so violent, it got banned from all radio. People rioted when they heard it. But he was considered one of the innovators of guitar distortion, because he was playing guitar through an amp and it was beautiful and clean. And he was like, no, I want to push the boundaries. He got a pencil and he stabbed the cone of his guitar amp, destroying the speaker itself, but it created a distorted sound.
Very cool.
Pushing the envelope and then codifying what would become rock, which was this like sound of the medium itself breaking down.
Right.
And so, yeah, musicians have always sought to push the boundaries with people, and this was clearly another way of doing that. I guess what we need to figure out was how much of what Led Zeppelin were clearly intentionally doing was shock value and PR, and how much of it was genuine devil worship.
We actually tried to do something similar on our last world tour. Right before we went on stage, I tried to destroy one of the amplifiers with a screwdriver.
Oh.
First stabbing motion, I was electrocuted so badly, we had to cancel the tour.
You were trying to push the boundaries of podcasting.
Yeah. I was like, wait until they hear this. And I slammed the screwdriver into the amplifier, went shooting across the hall.
He sounded like the monk in the mosh pit.
And I woke up a couple months later. Like no time had passed
Tour
at
was
all.
over, had to cancel most of the dates. Yeah.
So yes, this is it's always interesting when we cover these stories. Unfortunately, as you said, I think we've done 5 or 6 now. Don't think we've got a yes once
Really?
so
You sure?
far.
Huh? You sure?
But hey, that won't stop us from trying.
Agreed. I mean, I think. Look, I'm not going to beat around the bush too much here. I think we did cover a lot of this kind of topic on that Satanic Panic episode, and in that episode we talked about other artists who, okay, fair enough, they didn't go as far as buying Aleister Crowley's house and creating the ritualistic murals over the walls. They didn't quite go that far, but they were there. Maybe black metal artists in Norway who burned down churches and who clearly genuinely did worship the devil.
Yeah.
But where we came down on that was, that's fine. You can worship
I don't
the
think we said that. It's
Sorry,
burning of the churches.
it's not fine. It's fine to worship the devil. Let's just say that in a vacuum. You can do that, but is that literally paranormal?
Yeah. Which no was the conclusion. I don't think we saw any
Because
direct.
it's like believing in God. Believing in God isn't paranormal until shit starts floating. If someone does a miracle, then it's paranormal. But,
yeah.
So we're kind of in that territory. I think. Ewan made a good point. Researcher Ewan, when he was looking in this and saying, to what extent maybe it starts off as genuine interest in the paranormal, then they realize it's selling records. All the shock value and the press around it is getting people interested and drawing them in. They've got to put some artwork on the cover of the album. Why not put a tarot card?
Why not Zoso?
Let me show you, just as a little stray here at the end before we wrap up, let me show you, because Jimmy Page is still alive. Let me show you what Jimmy Page's house today looks like, because he doesn't live in Boleskine House.
Right.
So he lives in London now, next door to Robbie Williams.
All right.
But he does live in a castle.
Okay, wow, that is a cool house. God damn. This looks like an alchemist lab.
That's
badass.
Quite beautiful. The house was designed for the architecture heads. They will know that it was designed by William Burgess, who created it in 1870? So it is quite stunning.
So what's happened to the hut?
I think it might
burned
be
down.
I think it might be empty again. Yeah, I think it was because it was burned in 2019. I think it's totally empty.
Wow, that's kind of sad. Holy shit, that's a nice house.
That is literally where King Arthur addressed the Knights of the Round Table.
That's pretty cool.
It is a round table with it's insane. It's like something from Skyrim.
That's what that rock star money will buy you.
So I'll give it to him. He is really about that shit. He is living that life to the max.
Yeah. I'd love to know now if he's changed his mind and he's like, now that I could die any day now, kind of into the whole Jesus thing.
Isn't it? Sorry, that's how it works, isn't it? It's just
repent on my deathbed.
You just literally say, I want to be forgiven, and you get forgiven.
I'm going to write a song about the devil. If you play that backwards, it's talking about the Lord. How about that?
Rory, at the end of every episode of This Paranormal Life, we have to decide whether our given case is paranormal or not. Bit of a weird conclusion, I will say, but let's just say, simple as this. Did Led Zeppelin do anything genuinely paranormal?
No.
Great. It is a double no today.
No. No, I don't even think we heard a time where they did anything. Oh, I guess the secret message, that was the only thing.
They conducted the black magic concerts. I think we know that.
Well, they didn't conduct a black magic concert.
They bought the house and probably did weird rituals in it.
Probably.
But it probably was more Alistair than Jimmy, really.
Yeah, and legends and stuff. No, I don't see why this is anything other than a bit of satanic.
I think there was a lot of sex and not a lot of sex magic happening.
Right. You got to get the balance right, honestly.
But hey, I think still worth looking into. That really is one of the most famous musical urban legends of all time, the backwards message. So I'm glad to have finally covered it here on the pod.
I will say, if you do think that is cool, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe at one point when we were working with editor Cami in the history of This Paranormal Life, we figured out we could put messages
Well, he figured out, yeah.
He figured out that we could put messages in the waveforms of the podcast.
Yep.
Right, so if you took it and put it into a waveform analyzer, there would be a message in the podcast.
Yeah, I think a spectral one, like in Adobe Audition or something.
Yeah,
that's a little clue for you, is if you dropped into Adobe and looked at the spectral analyzer, you can see TPL art somehow.
Yeah. We really should have kept an eye on him because I wasn't throwing our weekly episodes into
The spectral analyzer.
I really wasn't.
It's just a cock and balls, dick pics in most of them. But a cool Easter egg nonetheless.
Yeah.
We're just like Led Zeppelin. Thank you so much for tuning into this chat all about Led Zeppelin and their paranormal history. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I'm going to go away and listen to Whole Lotta Love, Kashmir Immigrant Song, all those classics. But if you couldn't get enough, I highly recommend, if you think this was good, check out our bonus episode on Andrew WK. We talked about it recently. It's a recent bonus episode, but that was another musical exploration of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Very different. But me and Phil actually went to the effort of, because we didn't want to get copyright struck, we wrote and performed fake Andrew WK tracks and put them in the episode. So whenever there's a scene at the beginning where he's like performing a concert, it's really Phil playing drums, me playing guitar, me singing. And we wanted to see if anyone would notice. No one noticed.
Yeah.
Because they were like, yeah, it just sounds like Andrew WK. But we made it. So
yeah,
check that one out.
Very cool little detail.
That was us sneaking a little bit of not satanic stuff into it.
Right. And hey, if you like the musical side of TPL, I actually wrote and performed a song on a recent episode of the podcast, which, was it
inappropriate? Yes.
Was it kind of interesting from a paranormal perspective? No.
Did it derail everything? Yes.
Did it push the boundaries of what is socially acceptable to talk about from perspective of my personal life? 100%.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
That alone is worth revisiting. It doesn't have a title. It doesn't have a name.
So 2 tremendous episodes to check out if you haven't already.
This is the real thing.
Did derail what I was saying though, because the point is the one I said is on Patreon. So patreon.com/ this paranormal life.
Of course, yeah.
The link of which is in the description of this podcast. Or if you're watching on youtube.com, hello mum, it's in the description there. Click the link. And every episode of This Paranormal Life is available ad-free there. And hundreds of bonus episodes and merch and crazy shit.
Loads of cool
And if
stuff.
you want us to do satanic stuff on there, we'll do it.
You can do that.
I'll do it.
Yeah, Kit can do that.
I'll do it. I'll do whatever. At the end of every episode, we like to give a shout out to those who've supported us on the shout out tier of Patreon. Let's do it. So a very special thank you to Ramy. Ramy is what aliens say when they're about to do an intergalactic drive-by. They say it to their passenger.
No, Ramy real quick.
Ramy. Passes them the blicky.
Right. That's pretty badass. Ramy real quick.
Yeah, Ramy real quick, bro.
I like that a lot.
I don't know if this is coming from an alien. They haven't given us a terrible amount to go on, but thank you for your support, Ramy.
Yeah. Can I borrow one of those guns real quick?
Thank you, lastly, but not leastly, today, to Rocky Treadway. Crazy that your name is Rocky Road. That's mad. Rocky Treadway?
I was going to say Rocky Treadway. Now, that sounds like the name of a guy who should be in a devil band.
Rocky Treadway.
Rocky Treadway.
With Kenneth Anger on bass.
Oh, yeah. I know that there's some hidden messages in this guy's songs.
We've got Rocky Treadway on guitar, Kenneth Anger on bass. We got Piss Bastard on drums, and the Kronk on synth.
Is he even human?
Kronk. He's like, am I human? Ramy real quick.
Damn.
Rocky, looking forward to that first debut single.
Can't wait. Keep us peeled.
Thank you so much, Rocky. Thank you to everyone we have shouted out today. Everyone we are yet to shout out. We'll be back with more shout outs from next week. Back on Friday for the after party on patreon.com. We're getting devilishly close to Christmas, my friends. We have a lot of fun end of year episodes coming your way. Do not think for a second we're going to be leaving you hanging over the Christmas and New Year period.
No way.
You're getting back-to-back bangers straight here from TPL HQ, keeping you entertained over the festive period, whether you're working, whether you're tuning, or what?
Yeah, just you said like back-to-back bangers over the Christmas season. I have actually already written my story for next week. So, don't know if banger is maybe the word I would choose.
Is it a banger or a clanger? That's hard to know.
It is. It's festive and fun and short and little. Yeah, it's just like it's a bit of
we're investigating where did the elves make the presents?
What happened to Christmas spirit? That's what we're investigating. It's a great one. It's a great one. A little different.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So just okay. Yeah. No, it's gonna be awesome.
We'll be back with that with all of it to come. Hope you're enjoying your December. We're back on Tuesday with a brand new paranormal tale.
Bye-bye.